Did you know entire countries have vanished from the map? We often see world atlases as fixed, but the truth is, borders are always shifting. These weren't mythical places. They were real nations with governments, citizens, and cultures. They fought wars, signed treaties, and then, through conquest, revolution, or slow decline, ceased to exist. It's a powerful reminder that today's world order isn't permanent. In this video, we'll dig into the stories of some of these lost nations, how they rose, what life was like, and why they disappeared. It's a journey through the rise and fall of states, and a reminder that history is always on the move. So, grab your metaphorical magnifying glass. Let's uncover the tales of countries that haunt the pages of our history books. Let's start with Yugoslavia, a country born from the ashes of World War I, uniting South Slavic peoples into one state. It was a mosaic of Serbs, Croats, Slovenes, Bosniaks, Montenegrins, and Macedonians, diverse in religion, language, and history. Holding it together was always a challenge, and after World War II, Tito's leadership kept the federation intact through force and a policy of brotherhood and unity. But after Tito's death in 1980, old ethnic tensions resurfaced, fueled by economic decline and rising nationalism. The 1990s saw the country violently unravel. Slovenia, Croatia, Macedonia, and Bosnia declared independence, leading to brutal wars and ethnic cleansing. Today, Yugoslavia exists only as a memory, replaced by several independent nations. Its story is a sobering lesson in the fragility of unity and the dangers of unchecked nationalism. The Balkans still feel the legacy of Yugoslavia's collapse. It's a stark reminder: shared geography doesn't guarantee shared destiny. The map can change overnight. Prussia, once a military powerhouse, now a ghost on the map. It began as a small duchy, grew through military discipline and political cunning, and became the driving force behind German unification in the 19th century. Under leaders like Frederick the Great and Bismarck, Prussia's army and bureaucracy set the standard for Europe. Prussia's values, order, efficiency, and militarism shaped the new German Empire. But after two world wars, the Allies saw Prussian influence as dangerous. In 1947, Prussia was formally abolished, its lands divided among Poland, the Soviet Union, and new German states. Today, you can't visit Prussia, but its legacy lives on in German culture and history. It's a case of a state that rose from obscurity, forged an empire, and was then deliberately erased. Prussia's story is a lesson in the power and peril of state-building and militarism. Sometimes the most influential nations are the ones that no longer exist. Their shadows linger long after their borders are gone. Now, to Tibet, a land of mountains, monasteries, and a unique spiritual tradition. For centuries, Tibet was a distinct cultural and political entity, with its own language, religion, and rulers. Its independence is debated, but Tibetans point to a long history of self-rule. In 1950, China invaded, and by 1951, Tibet was under Chinese control after a pressured agreement. Resistance led to the 1959 uprising, the Dalai Lama's exile, and the end of meaningful autonomy. Today, Tibet is an autonomous region of China, but critics say its autonomy is mostly symbolic. Tibetan culture faces pressure from migration, restrictions, and modernization. The Dalai Lama advocates for genuine autonomy, but the situation remains a stalemate. For many Tibetans, their nation as they knew it is lost, even if the land remains. Tibet's story is a poignant example of how a country can disappear without vanishing from the map. The loss is as much about identity as territory. Not all countries disappear in violence. Czechoslovakia split peacefully. Created in 1918 from the ruins of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, it united Czechs and Slovaks, but differences lingered. The country survived Nazi occupation and communist rule, but after the 1989 Velvet Revolution, old questions resurfaced. Political leaders in Prague and Bratislava had different visions for the future. Despite most citizens favoring unity, leaders negotiated a split. On January 1, 1993, Czechoslovakia became the Czech Republic, and Slovakia, the Velvet Divorce. No violence, no referendums, just a smooth, pragmatic separation. Today, the two countries are close partners in the EU and NATO. Their peaceful split is a rare example of amicable national divorce. Sometimes, separation can lead to better relations than forced unity. Czechoslovakia's story proves that endings don't have to be tragic. The Ottoman Empire, once a vast, multi-ethnic empire, dominated Southeast Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East for centuries. Its millet system allowed some autonomy for minorities, but managing such diversity grew harder as nationalism spread. By the 19th century, the empire was the sick man of Europe, beset by internal strife and external threats. World War I was the final blow. Defeat led to occupation, partition, and the Armenian genocide. Turkish nationalists, led by Ataturk, abolished the Sultanate and founded modern Turkey in 1923. The Ottoman collapse redrew the map of the Middle East and Balkans, often with little regard for local realities. Many modern conflicts trace their roots to these new borders. The empire is gone, but its cultural and political legacy endures. The story of the Ottomans is one of immense power, slow decline, and a dramatic end. Empires can vanish, but their echoes shape the world for generations. The past is never truly past. East Germany, the GDR, was born from the Cold War, a Soviet-aligned state behind the Iron Curtain. Life was tightly controlled, with the Stasi watching everyone and the Berlin Wall dividing families and friends. The wall became the ultimate symbol of division and oppression. Despite some successes, most East Germans longed for freedom and opportunity. In 1989, peaceful protests and Soviet reforms led to the wall's sudden fall. Within a year, East Germany ceased to exist, reunified with the West. Reunification brought challenges, but also hope and renewal. The GDR's 41-year existence is a reminder of how quickly nations can appear and disappear. Borders and ideologies can change overnight. The legacy of division still shapes Germany today. History moves fast. Sometimes walls fall in a single night. Our last stop, Sikkim, a tiny Himalayan kingdom absorbed by India. For centuries, Sikkim was an independent Buddhist monarchy, shaped by its strategic location and powerful neighbors. It became a British protectorate, then an Indian protectorate after 1947, retaining its monarchy. Political unrest grew in the 1970s, with calls for democracy and closer ties to India. India supported pro-merger parties, and after a controversial 1975 referendum, Sikkim joined India as its 22nd state. For India, it secured a vital border. For Sikkim's monarchy, it was the end of independence. Today, Sikkim is known for its development and organic farming, but memories of its past linger. Its story highlights the fate of small states caught between giants. Sometimes nations disappear quietly, not with a bang but a signature. Sikkim's history is a reminder that even the smallest countries can have big stories. Lost nations aren't always lost to memory. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of countries that vanished from the map. From Yugoslavia's violent end to Czechoslovakia's peaceful split, each story shows how borders and identities are always in flux. These lost nations still shape our world, through culture, conflict, and memory. There are countless other vanished states, each with lessons for today. What lost countries fascinate you? Share in the comments. Thanks for joining me. Like, subscribe, and stay curious. Remember, the maps we know are just snapshots in a never-ending story.